What is up? So, just a little update on this truck. I put the fuel tank back in, got it all bolted up. You'll see I put a ground cable on here, and then underneath where the fuel comes out, that's set up. It has a fuel sender in it for the level. So I went ahead and I wired that up, and I had that working on the original gauge cluster. So now when they drive the truck, they'll know roughly what they have for gasoline in the tank. Then you can see here, this is where I ran the gas line. And the other one, before I put the C-notch in there, was inside the frame. And I don't think that's where fuel lines should really go, is inside the frame like that. If the line breaks or if it rubs against the frame or something, you'll end up filling up most of that channel with gasoline. And I just think it's not a good deal. So when I run it to the outside. But you can see I put coilovers back on, and I put 1.5 inches on the spring. That should be enough to still give the truck a nice stance without being too high up and too low. So I think when it came in here to my shop, it was too low. But with that, you can see that turned out pretty good. I went ahead and I got all the wiring done. So the wiring on the truck is complete, but you can see where I ran that line right there. That's the electrical for the back of the truck, brakes, turn signals, license plate light, and all that kind of stuff for the back. And then the brake line right here, you can kind of see I've got to set that up so that it comes up and over and then down and then over to here. So I got to go into town and get some parts for that so I can set that up so it sets right. But at the same time, I don't know, I'm kind of deciding, I don't know if I want to put it right here or under the truck, the cab, but they have what's called a brake residual valve, and I'll show you one real quick. So this is a residual valve, 10 pound. So you put it in the brake line, and then once you've bled the system, there'll always be 10 pounds on this side of the residual valve. So if I put it under the cab, that whole line all the way up to the brake drums back here will have 10 pounds of pressure on it. So if it's a 12 pound to apply brakes, you only have to come up with 2 extra pounds without the fluid trying to flow all the way back and just kind of losing itself, I guess, be the way to word it. But you also do one on the front. So I'll probably do that one too while I'm under there. But this one is a 2 pounder. So that one will go to the front like that, off the front side of the master cylinder. And then with that, you'll always have 2 pounds set in the front. So if you need the brakes, when you tap them, you already have 2 pounds. And I think the front brakes take like 8 pounds to get the brakes to stop. But 2 pounds is enough, so when you step on it, you'll definitely start slowing down, let off, you can go again. So for the older vehicles like this is definitely a necessity. I think so anyways. But with that, you just kind of see, got good progress done back here. Still have a few things to do up under the engine, in the engine. So put a new carburetor on this guy and replace the valve covers. And the one thing that, not that it matters, but just one thing I noticed on this truck is there's no PCV system on here. So this is a stroker motor. It's a 383 stroker. And the problem you have is that filter type and the one that's back here, those aren't for relieving the blow-by from the pressure that builds up on the motor when you're driving it. You actually have to have a PCV on here, which would come from like right here You put the valve on here, and then it runs up and comes into the carburetor on the bottom here and pulls a vacuum on it. So it's always pulling. And then this filter would be your basically your atmosphere in, so that you have fresh air for combustion down inside the engine. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of critical. And if you don't do that, you'll end up blowing gaskets. You'll probably blow out back over here the oil dipstick and stuff like that. So save yourself time if you're ever in a project like this. Go ahead and spend the money and build a PCV system on here so you can relieve that pressure that's inside that engine when you're running it. Or if you don't, you're going to blow seals, and you don't want to lose like your rear main seal because you didn't have a PCV on here, which probably costs, you know, $8, maybe $25 with the correct filters and stuff on here, and the little hose that'll come and snap in under here. So anyways, that being said, she's almost done. Just a few little things left to do. All the wiring harness and the C-notches were the biggest thing I needed to get done on this thing. So those are completed. And with that, I will say goodbye. Have a great day.